So, this is Cal Cat, the Cat's turn. This is a review of the Fully Dilated, the 7th episode of Lord X of the season, which has a guest appearance by Data's Head. So they're doing a Data's Head episode, a spoof of that one. Times Arrow. And also a little bit of the Elizabethan Frankenstein one. Also a little bit of, they're doing a lot of Next Generation. Except just Data's purple head from the other dimension, the purple dimension. It's the Far Outtian Data from Picard LaForge. That's who it is. And also we have, so it all works. You have you have it's sort of a girls' night out thing, but it's also kind of, which is weird. It's kind of the premise of that Starship Locations story that was submitted, and the person that submitted it couldn't possibly have seen this episode or the script or anything like that before it was done. So I don't know how. Yeah, this is kind of this story. They're gonna think, oh, it's this story, but it's not. It's just a coincidence that there's a girl trip, and the girl trip is the theme. But it's a coincidence that they thought of the same idea. The other one's based on an actual trip, and this is based on a silly Star Trek spoof. So this one is a spoof where Boimler and Rutherford's trying to grow a beard. The captain wants to promote either Talen or Tandy to the science officer position. There's a purple Enterprise and a rift that comes through, and they leave something behind, so they have to go down to the planet. The planet is time dilated, like the Meridian planet and the other one, and the one on Orville, with the Orville's ripping off the Meridian one. Which doesn't make sense unless they're by a black hole. And so on the planet, months go by, when almost a year goes by, up in space, only a few minutes. We have Boimler and Rutherford trying to fix a transporter to get them back, and to them it's only minutes on the ship. So there's this weird thing going on with that. The Brent Spiner hinted at this at GalaxyCon, that he's going to be on Lord X. Because obviously he wasn't hinting that he was on Prodigy. He wasn't on Prodigy. Will Wheaton had been on Prodigy as Wesley the Traveler. So whatever Brent Spiner was talking about must have been this, his playing a version of his head in the episode. As of yet, they have not shown the Harry Kim episode. And this is the next one. They also never addressed the planet Locarno at the end of last season, knowing the fan backlash from, including our channel, but other ones as well. They were like, no, you can't do it like that. It doesn't match up. They just didn't go there. They just didn't address it at all. They just said, okay, you do your own thing over there, Starship Locations Legacy. Do your own thing and have your own version of Cito and Locarno. Fine. You can do that. We won't, which won't go there at all. We won't address it. Which is fine. So yeah, if Shannon Phil does reappear at some point, there's only 3 episodes left. So, purple Data would be similar to the Picard LaForge Data, and the planet could be similar to Flowdie, except they were sort of Andorian-like, and they had like horns, and they were primitive, and they were pre-warp culture, kind of like the Mintakans, and some of the other ones. Talen invents snake oil beauty products, sort of a nod to the TMS people who also had snake oil beauty products, kind of things. But a lot of other people do, so it wasn't just them. Other people thought of that. So it's a TMS colony. We have a mob, and there's a lurker guy by the name of Snell, which is funny because Schnell is, again, a Starship Locations name. He's some sort of relative of Dawn Schnell, Dawn Schneid, the teacher lady, the Borg Queen from the CPL stories. It's like Mike McMahon met us at some point in the past and just keeps cribbing ideas from our stuff and making a story out of it. Yeah, I don't think he did, but it's like he did. Even names. I would not be surprised if a Cal Cat showed up again at some point. I was already there. I was in the you know. That didn't have any lines of dialogue. The San Jose, of course, and the guy with the guy who got shot with a phaser during the Two Vicks episode. Um, but it would have been me 20 years ago, because it's supposed to be taking place 20 years ago. Um, but yeah, so yeah, the overall story though, it's not ripping off mine at all. It's just that we were thinking the same thing, goofy sci-fi sort of funky other universe where goofy stuff is going on. Yeah, so you have it's all seems to be reasonably goofy, silly thing. Yeah, and because I'm rendering part of the Canary Space thing, I cannot. You won't know it, but I can't actually put this episode in the USB thing and download it. So until that's done. Somebody did comment on one of my videos, and I blocked them about it was 15 minutes too long, and it was a 15-minute video. Very funny. Yeah, and they didn't have any content, so they don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, so they didn't have any content. They really don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. So there's very little. It wasn't shadow banned. It was blocked. They just blocked that. Just so their channel still exists. Just I blocked them from seeing mine. That's all. It doesn't shadow ban. But yes, the Star Trek story. It was fine. It had I'm trying to make it a little quicker anyway. It had a camaraderie episode with the three of them. Mariner sort of doing her own thing, getting captured in a bar fight. Well, not really a bar fight. She accidentally punched a guy. But yeah, she's been acting more normal lately. Boimler and Mariner, Boimler and Rutherford are both trying to grow beards, trying to be the other people. There's this weird idea that the time warp thing probably will get thrown in at the last minute and explain something. Hopefully it's Shannon Phil as a Q, and with Holy Cat. Probably not, but that would be funny. Maybe it was Q. Yeah, because Q didn't die at the end of Picard season 2. He showed up at the end of Picard season 3. He talked to Picard's son for some reason. He's a Q. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, there were some nods and things that don't just necessarily Picard LaForge purple Enterprise or some other, but they would totally paint it purple. It's not really a gray either. It's more of a robin's egg blue. The original Enterprise was more of a gray green. Anyway, so yeah. So a purple Enterprise. That sounds like something out of Silly Trek as well. It was very Silly Trek, yeah. Oh, so was the episode with the cubes and the squares and the rhombosoids and things fighting each other. That also was very Silly Trek. I'm surprised they can get away with it, but it's a cartoon, so they can. And my stuff's a cartoon too, but with action figures, so we can get away. Yeah. So yeah. Canary Space that. The spin-off of the Next Generation. Yeah, so this episode isn't really technically like that other story, but it has a similar plot where they go to an away team to a planet, which they've been doing a lot lately, so you can't really say, okay, that's ripping it off. That's just a plot device. Going on an away mission is not, and having a girl spat is not technically something that's copyrightable. I mean, they just go to the thing and they do their thing. So it's what happens in the away mission that makes it different. You either have a planet show or you have a bottle show. This is more of a planet show. Yeah. Well, anyway.